big challenge for particularly the homeless, those on the poverty line and the retired community.
On pressures that mean there are now courses on offer being run by Boston College to help people get to grips with their finances ahead of the festivities.
It's not just about going to Tesco or Asda or Lidl or Sainsbury's or whatever. It's about picking the right quality at the right price for your budget and being able to prepare with energy costs and everything else leading up to Christmas.
So what we're here to do today, we're going to help the community, we're going to help the people of Boston use those skills, especially at this time of year when finances are stretched, make the most of the money they've got.
Today's Boston College class started with bingo.
7 and 1, 71.
But out on the streets, it's more of a lottery as to whether people can afford their hopes for Christmas.
Christmas is an extra pressure, whether you do saving schemes or not. It will still mean that you may not be able to afford all that you want for Christmas. I mean, the price of a turkey, just go to Asda, £22.50. Who's going to afford that?
Are you budgeting already?
Well, we just have to buy little bits here and there, because if you leave it all in one go, it just cripples you.
Not a challenge, going to catch a bus.
Of course, with inflation putting up the prices of pretty much everything, this isn't just a problem confined to Christmas.
It's going to be those months and weeks after Christmas as well. So the plan is to carry on with this after Christmas and help them budget, learn about the energy costs so that they can survive, till the weather gets better at least.
That was Crispin Rolfe reporting from Lincolnshire. Well, research out today shows that half of shoppers surveyed would be using credit plans this Christmas, including buy now, pay later options. And this is interesting. Of those paying on credit cards and credit payment plans like Klarna and ClearPay, a fifth would be doing so for the first time. You might expect this, though. The vast majority said they would be shopping around for the best deals this Christmas. Some said they might even wait for the sales. In some separate research out today for the Money and Pension Service, that's a government body offering debt advice, that suggests that 1 in 6 adults in the UK have no savings at all, and more than a quarter have £100 or less. Now, if you're organised, you might have started your Christmas shopping. We spoke with shoppers in West London about how they're planning to pay for theirs.
I was a single parent at 18. If you can't afford it, you don't have it.
Exactly.
And I've lived that life ever since.
And I tend to buy things every so often on the run up to Christmas. So I've just bought something for my nephew for Christmas and I'll keep buying bits and pieces as I go on.
I'm most probably going to struggle, and plus I'll have to most probably take my time with, I have to look after my money in a certain way, and I'll have to spread my money out, and I'll have to cut down on my money, put it that way.
Already in a bit of debt with Klarna because of like having to buy supplies for uni and stuff, and like food shopping and stuff. Using Klarna for that is really helpful, but it's also like quite hard to be able to budget some money for like presents and stuff if you're like having to save to like pay for electric and pay for food.
Because obviously everything's gone up in price, food shopping, petrol, and yeah, it is a bit of a worry of how we're going to save enough to get enough presents.
And are you looking forward to Christmas?
Well, yeah, and my birthday's a day before Christmas.
Oh, so double presents?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Exactly. Oh, I always wondered if you got double presents if you had a Christmas birthday. You can find lots of information, support and advice online at the BBC's Cost of Living page. Just put into the search engine, BBC Cost of Living, and lots of that will come up for you. Ben and Sally, really tempting, particularly at this time of year, to look at credit options. And actually, lots of people use credit really successfully, wait for the next payday, and it works out really well. But as we know, particularly at the moment, your outgoings are becoming increasingly unpredictable. So perhaps think about being a bit more cautious. We're going to be speaking in the studio with a representative from Citizens Advice later and finding out if you are turning to credit, what the advice is, where you have to be careful around that.
And it's also because we've sort of got used to money being quite cheap, haven't we? Because interest rates have been so low for so long. So now suddenly people are having a bit of a shock. Not only are prices going up, but the cost of borrowing that money also going up at the same time. And that could be a problem.
I think that's right. I think for the, up until this period, you've been able to do buy now, pay later without any interest at all in some schemes. And what we're seeing incrementally is interest being added on to new schemes and perhaps people not checking the small print, assuming that things haven't changed. So really important to be careful. careful when using credit. And important to say, as I said earlier, some people do use credit in a really healthy way that helps them get through the Christmas period. So it can be really helpful.
Yeah, you just got to be quite on it, don't you, and plan it and make sure you know exactly what you're doing. Nina, thank you. Some top tips there. And as Nina said, talking to Citizens Advice a little later about what you might need to think about if you're in that position.